How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Got a big night ahead of us. I don't know how long we're going to go. I really don't. Let's just jump right in. How's everyone doing tonight? How's everyone doing? Last night, if you missed my episode, at the end of the video, I said most likely within 24 hours to 72 hours, you are going to forget about the Washington, D.C. airplane crash. And I just threw that out there. I was just like, you know what? We're probably going to be talking about this plane crash in D.C. for weeks. And then tonight, I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And right away, I just created a thumbnail. I didn't watch any other footage because I had some stuff to do. My son was over, and I'm like, I'll be back in a minute. Created a thumbnail, put it up saying, basically, is America under attack? And then I had to go. My son was actually going to jiu-jitsu, so I had to go and watch. So I haven't been able to watch any of the footage. So I'm going to watch it with you. If you guys have watched it, this will be a little bit of a refresher. So this is new to me. What's going on. I don't have any idea. I heard my son said it was another plane crash in Philly. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Another one? Are you kidding me? But I was busy looking up stuff for DC to not think about Philadelphia. And I'm like, another plane crash within 24 hours? And I'm like, well, I got to check it out. And then I watched it. And I'm like, okay, I don't need to see anymore. I just watched a fireball come down. And I'm like, okay, that's all I need to see. That's it. Upload the thumbnail. And then I went to jiu-jitsu. And now I'm back. So, without any investigation whatsoever, I posed the question, is America under attack? Plane crash in Philly, and we're going live, and we're going to be talking about this, but I need you guys to adjust your thinking just a little bit. I need you guys to adjust your eyes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you adjust your eyes. What do I mean by that? Well, if you go outside and it's noon, let's just say you slept in, you go outside, it's noon, you're going to walk outside and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, this hurts. It's so bad. It's so bright. It hurts so bad. And then a friend comes up to you and it's like, dude, why don't you put on your sunglasses? And you're like, I know, it's so bright though. I can't even see and blah, blah, blah. So you go inside, let your eyes adjust, and then you put on the shades and you go outside and you're like, oh, this is not so bad. Meanwhile, the friend is like, yeah, like, dude, it's bright outside. Your eyes take time to adjust. Same thing when you come from outside and it's really bright and you go inside, you can't see anything. It's darkness inside. So I need to adjust your eyes so that you can see what I'm seeing. Okay? So let's go have a look at some footage. Very eerily, strangely similar to what we just witnessed tonight. So just watch this. I'm just going to watch a little bit. Are you going to tell me those are planes crashing? Medical planes? Lear jets? Is that what you're telling me that I'm seeing here? This is a missile strike from Iran to Israel. Let's have a look at it again. Let me just back it up again. You tell me if your gut feeling is, Shane, you think you're seeing missiles there, but Shane, I promise you, you are seeing planes. These are just a barrage of planes falling down in Israel. So can we not say that Israel was under attack by this footage? Yes? Are we all in agreement that yes, Shane, that makes total sense that is Israel being under attack? Okay, let's go now. Let's flip over. Let's adjust. Now that our eyes are adjusted, I want to go over to, where is it? Right here. I want to go over to the plane crash. Take a look at this.
Think you can tell what's real anymore? What you're looking at right now isn't a
It's going to be cold and
okay. I don't know if this is the one. Yes, it is, I think. Yes. Okay. So I am going to show you this explosion. Let me just cue it up. I'm going to show you why can't I find it? Here it is. Okay. Right here. Okay. So I'm going to show you the plane crash, and I want you to tell me that this is a plane crashing. Okay? Let's have a look here.
And then I see another smaller fire as I'm looking down Cutman Avenue, which probably is the remnants of whatever that truck or SUV was that's on fire.
just incredible.
So I'll get off the phone. I'll get right back to you.
Absolutely.
Some video.
Get yourself safe. All right, Steve, thank you very much. Let's go back to that doorbell camera video that we had from a viewer, and on the left side of your screen, I posted this on Twitter, and the
plane? It looks like a plane to you?
We had reports of a small plane crash that happened here in this area. And a lot of people texting me right now saying, what is going on? And
there's your plane crash. Okay, let's look at another angle here. Let me find this here. Of course, I can't find plane footage. Where is it? They keep showing the doorbell footage, but I want to see the actual.
We just got some breaking details. We have a statement from the FAA, and I'll just read it to you in its.
I don't want the statement from the FAA right now. We're just looking at this here. Let's see here. Okay, let me back up here. back up to the beginning.
No word on any injuries or fatalities. We have no word on what kind of plane this was. And we showed a doorbell video, if you're just joining us, a doorbell video from about a half a mile away, I'm assuming.
All right, Jason.
Yes,
Jason,
go ahead.
So to give you an idea, you're with Wendy's, is this? Which store is this? This is what? All right. So I'm with a worker right across from where the house is on fire. What did you see in here while you were working?
Man, I was just working. I was making a drink, and then I just see a big old explosion of light just out of nowhere. I felt the vibration. It was crazy, man.
And did you have any idea what it was?
Man, I don't know. At first, I thought it was like a gas leak or a gas truck, you know what I'm saying, collided with a car. But then I hear it's a plane, and I'm like, what? What do you mean a plane?
What do you mean a plane? This is eyewitnesses going, no, I saw an explosion. And it shook the house. You guys are under attack. You just may not be aware of it. There's something going on right now over Philadelphia. Right now, right away, they're saying it's a plane crash, and they block the area off. You can't see anything, and then they start with their stories and all this stuff, and we're going to hear stories. So I just showed you what a missile strike looks like, and I just showed you. And again, I'm going to try and find the footage of the actual fireball coming down from a different angle. You're telling me, just based on observation, that what we're seeing right now is not a missile strike, it's actually a plane. That's what you're trying to tell me. That's what the authorities are trying to tell me. When I just showed you a missile strike that looks virtually identical, and the speed, note the speed and the terror and the vibration and the explosions. This is an attack on American soil if I've ever seen it. I don't know how else you can't convince me that that's a plane. Sorry, we just went studying another plane crash 48 hours ago, and you can see the helicopter, and it's still weird. That one's still weird. Like, to have basically a plane almost disintegrate, like it went up in flames. It looked like it was a missile shot when you first see it, but obviously you could see the helicopter going across the screen. But even that was kind of weird. It dropped gently into the river. Not like this. This was a missile strike. I don't know what else to say. Let me see. Again, if you watch the news first, they're gonna paint the picture. And the picture is they have it already formulated. It's like, okay, there's body parts, there's plane parts. We found plane parts. These are reporters telling you this. We found plane parts. And it's like, how did you get there? If nobody's allowed to get there, how did you get there? And how can you figure this out so quick when they roped off the whole area? And like, it's amazing to me that they're telling people to keep away because of all the fuel smell. And yet there's people saying they saw stuff. And the stories are going to come out. And after a while, you're going to have to go, what's really the truth here? Because there was a documentary a couple of years ago called The Hatchet Hitchhiker. And I watched that documentary. And at the beginning, when the guy showed up, he was like, man, I saw a guy. He was all over this woman. So I came up to him and I took my axe and I smashed him. I went, smash, smash, smash. Because he was all over that woman. And I took care of it. And this guy became a hero. He went on Jimmy Fallon and all this kind of stuff. Turns out he's crazy. Turns out he was a hitchhiker. Most likely a male prostitute that would sell his services, sell his body to be picked up by rich white men. That's what this kid did. And he ended up killing a rich white man because it went, the rich white man raped him and then didn't pay him, or who knows what happened. Ended up killing the guy. Now he's behind bars. So everybody treated that guy as a celebrity because he showed up on the scene, and they're like, man, I can't believe this guy. He speaks so well. He's articulating everything beautifully, and everybody ran to this guy like he was a hero. And I'm telling you, there's going to be eyewitnesses right out of the gate that are calm, cool, and collected, and they're saying crazy stuff like, I just want the people to be safe. I don't know where the family is or whatever. And I tried to rescue them because that's what I was taught when I was a youngster. And then they come up with stories and all this stuff. And they're like, there'll be stories like, I wanted to give the shirt off my back and all this stuff. And scripted. I'm telling you this. There's something going on here. And you may not believe me today, but tomorrow morning or tomorrow when you wake up again and then you see something like this again, you're going to be like, okay, now this is serious. But it could be too late then, because you're so far in it now that you have to trust the authorities now that are just dropping all this stuff. And then what happens if another plane crashes? Are you still going to think these are planes after we just showed you a missile crash? I'm going to try and find the missile crash. So bear with me 1 second. Let's just skim ahead and let's listen to what this guy. Remember, the first people that were closest said, I thought it was a bomb that went off. I thought it was an explosion. I thought a gas leak, or I thought a trucker ran into another trucker. And then they're like, no. It was a plane. And he's like, no way. This is not a plane. That's their first thing until somebody tells them over and over again, it's a plane. I know you see a missile. It's a plane. It's a plane. It's a plane. So let's go back to this. Let's go back. Let's try and find some more. Let's listen in.
And you looked out the back door here. You're fairly close. You see a house on fire here. What, do you know what street that is right there? But the side street.
Oh, the side? I'm not really.
Yeah, but
side street.
But you saw all the fires here.
I saw all the fires. Yeah, it was crazy, man.
And what was the reaction of everybody in the cafe and all around here?
Oh man, everybody ran, bro. Everybody ran. They left.
And who wouldn't leave? How did you finally hear about it being an airplane?
Oh, it was crazy, man.
Did you see all the parts in the parking lot next to the cafe here?
Yeah, not the parts per se, but I just see fire, man.
Yeah.
Smoke, everything.
Notice how the reporter is leading him. In court, you'd say, objection, Your Honor, leading the witness. Did you see any plane parts anywhere? And he's like, no, I didn't. Why? Because it's fresh. It's embedded into his mind as to what he actually saw. The reporter's trying to embed something else into him to make him go, did you not see that part over there? Those airplane parts? You didn't see body parts? Come on, like, work with the program here. He's not doing it for them. He's not dancing.
What it was?
Man, I don't know. At first, I thought it was like a gas leak or a gas truck, you know what I'm saying, collided with a car. But then I hear it's a plane, and I'm like, what? What do you mean a plane?
And then you looked out the back door here. You're fairly close. You see a house on fire here. What, do you know what street that is right there?
Oh, man.
But the side street.
Oh, the side? I'm not really.
Yeah, but
side street?
But you saw all the fires here.
I saw all the fires, yeah. It was crazy, man.
And what was the reaction of everybody in the cafe and all around here?
Oh, man, everybody ran, bro. Everybody ran. They left.
And who wouldn't leave? How did you finally hear about it being an airplane?
Oh, it was crazy, man.
Did you see all the parts in the parking lot next to the cafe here?
Yeah, not the parts per se, but I just see fire, man.
Yeah.
Smoke, everything.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Later, safe. So there you go, Jason. This worker is about a football field's length from where the house is on fire. So we're behind, and if you're
So because he's not telling them what they want to hear, we got to stop this interview and we got to go to one of our other actors.
up a map and you're wondering where I'm talking to you from, I'm right behind the Cane's Chicken Store, which is fronts right on Cotman, in the front of the Roosevelt Mall, which is diagonal right across from this house on fire. So look, I don't see any more flames on the house, but I see flames initially on the street that have been right in the driveway of the Roosevelt Mall, right next to the store that lists the sign that lists all the stores here. Those flames are now kicking up.
And what I would do if I was in charge of this production, I would show nicely framed shots of police cars, fire engines, close-ups of fire engines, and I wouldn't show you anything else for a while to get that in your mind that we got to really acknowledge these first responders. And I get it. I understand. That's what they're there for. But you focus on that, and then you start focusing on the stories of all the first responders responding. Then you move away from the actual investigation. What was it? What was it? What struck us and who struck us? Was it China? Was it Russia? Was it Ukraine? Zelensky's been kind of quiet. Who was it? Is it an inside job? Because it looks strange that a few months ago they had drones all over New Jersey and all this area, and then now you're starting to get a strike, and because you guys aren't used to it, you're still going to buy the media. You're not used to being lied to you. You're not used to that yet. So you accept that the media is telling you the truth, and yet your eyes are going, it doesn't make any sense. That's not how I picture a plane going like this, like a missile. And look at the explosion from a small plane. Are you kidding me? What's on it? A nuclear bomb? Like, look at this place. Eventually, you're going to get to the point where if it looks like a black swan and it walks like a black swan, it swims like a black swan, and it sounds like a black swan, it's going to be a black swan. Eventually, we could be staring at a black swan event in front of us and we don't even know it. That's also one of the criterias of having a black swan event. You don't know you're in it. And I'm in Canada and I'm looking at you guys. I'm going, it looks like you guys are under attack. You just don't know it yet because it's subtle.
I have no idea what's burning. It must be some kind of fuel. And I don't know if that's the gas line, because now I see a team of Philadelphia Gas Works workers, and they look like they're getting back. All right, Jason, I'm gonna step back because I'm looking at guys with hard hats and PGW vests stepping back. That must be the gas line that the police officers were warning me about. And those flames are now ticking up. That is across from the house. Maybe that's what caught the house on fire.
Okay. Suddenly he's a detective. Okay, let's go over here now. Tell me if this is a plane crash.
Plane crash that happened here in this area. And a lot of people texting me right now saying, what is going on? And they grew up in this area. But there's several little fires like that burning as firefighters try to get a large debris field that stretches city blocks.
Let me back it up.
Roosevelt Mall is where this happened. And so we're just
right here.
They felt the ground shake, and and as you can see here, no surprise, perhaps the debris again from the fireball that then ensues after the. Yourself safe, obviously, and we're doing our best to bring viewers pictures, live pictures, as soon as we can of what we're seeing. What you're seeing right now, folks, is video that Steve took on his phone moments ago. Still very smoky and tough to breathe there.
Jason, I'm gonna get off the phone.
Okay.
I can feel the heat from this gas line fire.
Get out of there.
Get off the phone, get you some new video, and get that right to you so we can illustrate to everybody what's going on here right now. Because this is a sight to behold. These flames are so big that they're lighting up the scene. That's why I'm able to see the house that was on fire, and I can see the firefighters up on the roof. And boy, they're doing a great job.
Notice they have this barricade here that you can't see what's going on.
There's hundreds of firefighters here. The gas workers team staying behind, and I guess they must realize that's just gas burning off, even though it's ignited. Must be no danger of an explosion here, or you would think they would clear everybody out of here right now. But there's so many people standing close to that, and then I see another smaller fire as I'm looking at Cutman Avenue, which probably is the remnants of whatever that truck or SUV was that's on fire.
Just
So I'll get
incredible.
off the phone. I'll
Yeah.
get right back to you.
Absolutely.
I'll give you some video.
Get yourself safe. All right, Steve, thank you very much. Let's go back to that doorbell camera video that we had from a viewer, and on the left side of your screen, I posted this on Twitter, and the replies I'm getting from everyone is that looks like a missile, and it sure does. Now, that doesn't mean that's what it is, but this angle, the fireball that then ensues after the crash. If that is a plane, it was in a serious downfall at that moment. When you think of some of the planes that fly out of the Northeast Philly airport, there are some smaller Cessnas, there are some private jets as well. No jumbo jets, as you know, out of that airport. But just look at the fireball so you can see why the debris field is what it is in Northeast Philly at the Roosevelt Mall. This happening less than an hour ago, right as people are coming home from work. They're shopping right there. It's a Friday evening. They may be going to dinner at this point. There's no word on any injuries, but it does not sound good at the moment. Steve Keeley was.
So again, does that look like a plane strike? Like, forget about what you're reading for a second, guys. Use your eyeballs. In the comments here, does that look like a plane to you? Out of any of the plane footage that you've ever watched in your entire life, does that look like a plane? Am I getting anybody to say, yes, it does? Yes, Shane, that definitely looks like a Cessna. That's exactly it. Or am I going to get a lot of, nope, that's not a plane. Not a plane. All caps if you want. No, not a plane. I've never seen a plane hit like that either. Something is going on, and if you remember a couple of years ago, Mother Russia was doing exercises along Ukraine's border. And the American Pentagon, I guess, leaders were saying Russia is going to attack Ukraine. We're getting sources, all this kind of stuff. This is what's going to happen. I didn't believe it. I was like, Russia wouldn't be that crazy to attack Ukraine. Why would they attack? And then I'm looking at the footage, and I'm seeing endless tanks along the border, and I'm not believing my eyes. I'm like, it looks like they're going to attack, but it can't be. They can't attack Ukraine. And then they moved in, and we're still not believing it. And Russians are saying, oh, it's just military exercises. That's all we're doing here. But our eyes are telling us it's an invasion. So why did it catch us off by surprise? It's because we were watching the buildup over a period of like a month before it was actually an invasion. So what we're seeing here is some kind of an attack on American soil. And because it's so new and fresh, everybody's going to get their cameras and go running. But if it happens again tomorrow or later tonight, you're talking a full-blown panic on the markets and everything else, that all you have to do is get wind that America is under attack and your history will change overnight. That's what a Black Swan event is. It starts with something like this that's so quiet, and they're trying to downplay it because they can control it. They can block off the area so that any bystander would look and go, my goodness, that's a missile. Let's get out of here. And you don't want to panic the highways. You want to get all the celebrities out. You want to protect the higher ups first, because you don't want people to panic, because they're going to drain the banks tomorrow. They're going to make a run because it's Friday. So you got a couple of days still, because some of the smaller towns, the banks don't close. So you're going to see a little bit of a run on Monday, I believe. And you got to warn the rich people first, get them out of there and get them into hiding, get their Porsches and get their Lamborghinis underground so that they can protect all their assets. Meanwhile, all it'll take is one more of these tomorrow, and you guys will panic. You guys are going to run for the hills, and you're welcome to come into Canada. you're welcome to come into Canada, because I don't believe we will get attacked as much as you guys, because there's a lot of things at play right now. They don't want Trump as the president. I don't think this is an internal attack. I don't know who it is, but I feel like you guys, you need to keep your head on the swivel in America. We'll be praying for you guys, because it feels like you guys are actually under attack. You're just asleep right now. You're just asleep. And then when it happens again tomorrow or the next day or whatever, you're going to be like, oh man, shoot, it's too late now. Now we got to hanker in and stay home. So that's what it feels like to me that's going on in America. And I'd like to see one person on the comments that are saying, no, Shane, what you actually saw is a Cessna 49, because that's what they look like when they crash. And then send me a link, show me a piece of footage that matches that, because any plane footage that I've seen, you can actually watch the plane go down. Unless it was hit before. If it was hit before and then it crashed, it still doesn't explain the explosion. That's the crazy part. Again, I just showed you footage. If you guys are just new here, let's just have a little look. We just watched plane crash footage. So now let's have a look. Let's have a little sneak peek here. Let's have a look at Israel when Israel was under attack. Right here. Let's have a look here.
Are you looking to start your digital marketing agency? You are in the right place. I'm Mike. I was running my digital agency for 12 years.
Can you guys see this? So let me just show this to you, because some of you might be going, Shane, you're crazy. That's a plane landing, or a plane hitting a market, a mall. Okay, well, here's what a missile strikes are. A missile strike. This is what a missile strike looks like. This is terrifying video footage showing Iran's missile attack on Israel. Okay, so let's just watch it again real quick here. Notice the pattern? Hits the ground, explodes, big fireball. Right there, fireball. Fireball, right? That's a plane, right? That's what that looks like to you, a plane. More planes. Still think those are planes? Crazy, right? Man, that's a lot of planes. I wonder if they have an airport nearby in Israel. And I wonder if they poured kerosene all over those planes to make them look like they were actually fireballs. Weird. It's a lot of planes. So I guess what you're seeing, you can go ahead and believe that if you want, that is a plane strike or a plane crash. It's one thing to have a plane crash and then have people witness it. And then authorities are like, hey, just be careful. There's debris and all this stuff. Okay, get it. Stay back a bit. It's another thing to block off the area and to find plane parts and then say, look, see, here's a plane part that I'm holding in my hand. Don't you know? And if you go into the Bible back to the book of Joshua. When Joshua was invading, there were 7 nations that Israel was to take out in the land of Canaan. And one of them were, I believe they were called the Gershonites. So what they did is they wanted to make a peace deal with Joshua. So what they did is these are your first actors, by the way, in the Bible. First actors. So what they did is they took clothes that were dirty, and then they took bread that was old, and then they emptied out the water from their canteen and then put mud all over their face and then showed up in front of Joshua and said, "We've traveled from a far way, and you are such a powerful nation, and we wanted to make a peace deal with you because we've traveled so far. Look at our water. It's empty. Doesn't it look like we traveled for such? Look at our clothes. Look at the dust on my face. Doesn't this look like we traveled so far?" And then Joshua's like, "Yeah, it kind of does. Okay, we'll make a peace deal with you." And then he found out later from the spies that were going out that these were actually their neighbors, that they were going to attack the next day. And Joshua wouldn't allow Israel to attack them because he already made an oath saying that he would not attack them. So now you have actors that are trying to make Joshua and Israel believe them that they came from a faraway nation, but they were actually neighbors. They protected themselves, and Josh made a deal, and they were able to not get extinct because of that. So the reason why I bring that up is this is what you're getting people doing. They're blocking off an area. It's like a magician trick. You put up the curtain before you cut the woman in half, and then you put her in a box, and then you have another woman that has her legs out the other side, but you have a curtain over it. You put a veil over top of it, and then you pull it out, and you're like, ta-da! What a magnificent magician. It's a magician's trick. And so they're doing this as well by blocking this whole area off so that you can't see it. And then they show you, look, we found a plane part. Look, we've heard reports there are limbs. There were 2 people in the plane. Now there's 6 people. Now there are 2 doctors in the plane. That's the first thing that we knew. So you're telling me that before you got the manifest, that a plane gets disintegrated, shows up like a ballistic missile, and you know there's 2 doctors? When the day before, when we're trying to figure out who's on the manifest of a downed plane, and we know how many passengers are on that plane or how many it carried. We know the model, the make of the plane, but it still took a day to get all the names of the people that were on there. And these reporters know there's 2 doctors and this is a medical plane within minutes of it crashing and disintegrating. Are you kidding me? Are you buying this stuff? Maybe you Americans are. Maybe you're buying this stuff. I'm not buying it at all. I'm telling you, man, this is not cool. This is not cool at all. Something is going on. I just can't put my finger on it, but spiritually, the alarm bells are just ringing. Ring-a-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding. They are going off right now. And I spent a couple hours this morning reading. And the reason why I say that is not to brag. It was, Lord, please don't let me get snowed by all the stuff that's going on around the world. I really need to focus on your word. And I was actually reading the end of Exodus, and I'm getting into one of my favorite books, which is Leviticus. I absolutely love Leviticus. But I spent a couple of hours in it because my goal was to be done reading the Bible this month, and I'm a little bit behind. Most likely it'll be next month. And I just started in January. But I'm trying to plow through the Bible because I got to get my mind right because anytime you look at the news, all of a sudden there's something they're not telling you. And I'm like, man, if I believed every ounce that the media is throwing out there, I would go crazy. It's if not for the word of God telling you this is what keeps you sane. And yeah, it could look like I'm a conspiracy guy, but I'm asking you guys the question from a brother to my brothers and sisters out there. From the evidence that I showed you, does this look like a plane crash to you? Does it look like a plane? That's all I'm saying. If it's not a plane crash, what else is it then? It has to be a missile strike. It has to be. It's just because it's never happened before on American soil, you don't have a reference for it. But we have references for it in Israel. I just showed you the footage, and it looks exactly the same. It causes terror to the people that are watching it. They're like, oh my God, because there's vibration in the ground. It's shaking everything. And then all of a sudden, people are like yelling out to their gods, whoever is listening to them, and they're running for their lives. That's what happens in all these other countries. You Americans have never experienced that. The closest you've experienced was watching a strike, a missile strike or whatever into your Twin Towers, and even then you couldn't believe it. And then your Pentagon got hit by a missile, and even then you can't believe it. You can't believe your planes shoot your own planes down and all kinds of crazy stuff because your eyes don't want to believe what you're seeing. And that's what's going on in America. Like, so many crazy things that you're like, I don't want to believe this, what I'm seeing. It's crazy, right? Yeah, if it's a nuke, if like, don't forget the idea that there's actually, they found, there's rumors that there are 2 Iranian ballistic, what do you call it? Not ballistic, handheld missiles. And I forget what they're called. You can put them on your pack, but they snuck across the border before Trump got in. They're in America. And they have these rocket launchers that they can launch from anywhere. And they could take out planes, they can take out buildings, whatever. There's 2 of them. The report is there's 2 of them in America that they can't find. That's a weird time for balloons to show up. So there's 2. What are they called? Does anybody know what those are called? They're like RPGs, but you can actually carry them. Like, they're so small, you can actually carry them on your body. And then you could set them up, and then you can shoot a missile right out of them, a rocket. And they're saying that these particular types, they're like rat packs or something. They have the ability to launch nuclear weapons as well. And the rumor again is that there was 2 of them that snuck across the border, and they're trying to find them. So yeah, they're like Stinger missiles. Yeah, that's probably the best. But there's an acronym for them. Man-pads. There it is. That's kind of a weird thing, right? Weird name. But yeah, man-pads. Basically, the rumor is they're from Iran, and they snuck across the border, and these have the ability to deploy nuclear weapons or to deploy missiles to take out planes. So does that not look like either a plane was destroyed by a missile or it was a missile? I would argue with you that was a direct strike on America's soil. The higher ups probably know who's attacking. They don't want to cause panic because it's the weekend and they got to get their money and all this kind of stuff. They got to clear their assets. They got to protect everything. Because imagine on Monday morning when they make an announcement that the stock market is on hold until they take care of this, because there's a rumor that there's a terrorist attack on America. And in order to have you guys safe, we need you to stay in your home. We're going to declare martial law or who knows what. We've been talking about that in the fall. I was surprised you guys don't have martial law. We talked about it on my channel several times. I said the only thing that could stop the progress of whatever that Trump is trying to do is martial law. And once martial law comes in, all bets are off. Everything changes for you guys because, again, you're not going to be able to do what you want to do because you're under martial law. And you guys don't even have eggs right now, especially in the West. Like when we went to Phoenix, there was no eggs anywhere. And I got to sneeze. Why is it when I want to sneeze and I click on mute the mic, it goes away? I was just ready to sneeze. It happens every time. It stops just before I'm going to sneeze. Probably lost a few brain cells just getting ready to sneeze. Didn't happen. All right. Let's see here. So, held that sneeze in. Yeah, I don't like holding the sneeze in, but I was going to sneeze to the side. And as I'm thinking about it, it went away. Anyways. So, again, $4.50 a dozen. Wow, that sounds actually ridiculously expensive. All right, just look at the light when that happens. Really? That's your cure for a sneeze? What did I have tonight? Oh, I had some potato chips. Maybe I'm allergic to potato chips. Anyways, back to the subject. So do you guys think you get those cells back in the Harpazo? Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that. So what do you guys think that's going on here? Do you think this is Agenda 101? Something is going on? It's bizarro to me. Thank you, Nobody Listens to You. It's a great channel name, by the way. In any flight radar, that would be good. Okay, let's go along with that. We have within minutes a flight tracker to show Pat 25, the Black Hawk helicopter over the Washington airport. But does anybody know of any footage yet of the flight tracker? Because there's usually a couple of channels that show this kind of stuff. So I would like to see that footage, see the plane, and then watch it disappear. But that still doesn't count out the idea that that plane could have got struck by a missile. So those are my two things. My first conclusion, I know it's early, is that American soil was struck by a missile. A missile actually touched the American soil. My second thesis would be that a plane got struck by a missile and it crashed at a certain area. That'd be my second thing. Both revolving around the concept of a missile attack. Either way, you guys are in a little bit of trouble. So, yeah, it feels weird right now. It feels weird. So let's see what the people are saying here. I think it's the same as the X-Files ended. Government targeted conspiracy folks to conceal even the worst plans of them, and we've had this is the result. And it's weird that we're not really talking about the fires in LA anymore, because I think a lot of the people that were on that Diddy list are free and clear because all the evidence got burnt out. Let's see here. Channel 7 has good coverage. Yeah, Channel 6 is kind of weird. I'm not listening to allegations. Whose allegations? Is that me? Am I giving out allegations? I'm dishing out conspiracy theories. Who was on all these planes? Now I heard, wasn't there like a cheerleading group or something on this plane? Or maybe that was the plane last night. Cheerleader, because this one's smaller. It's only like a 6-passenger plane, allegedly. But last night, I think, like 60 some cheerleaders. Can that be right? I heard cheerleaders. You guys can verify this in the comments. Let's see here. Have a solution. All the problems that they have planned for your convenience. Yeah. Come on, Bubba News. We would like to see you. Yeah, for sure, Bubba News. If you want to come on here, I can send you a link. I think I have your email still. They could spoof the flight trackers. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Very good point. I did send an invitation out to Pete Garcia, but I think it's too late for him. I think it's past his bedtime. I also sent a link out to Derek from Bible Study Derek, because I think he used to be a pilot as well. I think so. So I was hoping to get him on tonight, but that's okay. It's late at night. So let's go. Let's see. Allergic to a strong man like you. Just allergic to a strong man like you. Yeah. I don't know what I'm allergic to. Let's see here. Ingrid, Ken, I used to look at the sun and it would help me sneeze. LOL. My dad asked me if I was allergic to the sun. I've heard that too. Andrew thinks it's a missile. What else do we have here? Let's see here. What else do we have here? Okay, let's go back to some more footage and let's see what we can uncover here. Let's go back. Let's go and see. Whoa. I actually jumped. I don't know if you noticed that. That actually made me jump because I forgot that I was actually on the Israel footage, and it actually spooked me there. So bad. My daughters don't like watching movies with me because I jump too easy. Okay, so let's go back. And actually, the sound is actually really good in my headset, so I jumped a little bit there. Kind of embarrassing. Let's go back now to the other footage here.
Tragedies that happen, within a few hours of each other and a few days of each other. I'm sure there are people out there who, their fear of flying is just quadrupled with these two tragic moments.
I never thought about that. Is it making you guys think about flying? Is it making you guys think twice about flying? That's the question. I never thought about that. You have two incidences within 48 hours. Does that cause you to either think that your plane may crash, or the idea that a plane could be taken down? Interesting, right? Not a fan of movies anymore. Yeah, I saw a stupid show. What was it called? Paranormal Activity. I don't recommend it at all. Scared the living daylights out of me, that show. And I remember when I had popcorn, by the time, and my daughters, both my daughters, we would go to these horror movies to watch them together. When Paranormal Activity came out, they used to like all that stuff. So they're like, Dad, can you come? And I go with them, just my daughters. My son didn't want to go. My wife didn't want to go, but my daughters did, because they wanted to watch me jump. They didn't care about the movie. They wanted to watch me jump. So they sat on both sides and gave me some popcorn. And by the end of the movie, the popcorn was like this. I had crushed all the popcorn because I was so scared of what was going on in Paranormal Activity. And after that show, man, I could be watching a commercial and a batter will hit a ball at the camera and I'll jump. I'll flinch. I'll just be like, it's crazy, right? Drives me crazy. All right. I won't get on a plane because I won't subject myself to being fondled. Yeah. You know what? I got a confession to make. I got fondled the other day by one of these guys. I went through one of those things going to Phoenix, and I left my belt on. I completely forgot my belt. And instead of, like, they said, can you take off your belt? And I'm like, yeah, sure. No problem. Sorry about that. Put it in the bucket. They're like, no, I'm going to need you. I'm going to need to do the little hand thing. Are you okay with this? And I'm like, what am I going to say at the airport? No, I'm not okay with this. My wife already went through. I'm like, yeah, it's just a patting down. Fine. They go behind you and then they do this little thing with the hand right between the legs. Boop. And I felt a little nudge there, just a little boop. You know, if you're used to playing hockey and somebody takes the stick and they go, That's what I felt. I'm like, how about I kick you in the nuts? And then they went around to the front, and then they do this thing where they pad you on the front part of my body. And yeah, he touched something. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm going to punch you out. Like, I hope that's the end of it. But I felt like I was violated for having a belt buckle. Horrible. And this all started back to 9/11. I don't know if you guys have I've never felt violated before like that. That was crazy. I didn't know that was a rule where you go up between the legs and you go bang, and then you go in the front. I didn't know that was a thing. I was like, dude, touch me again. Crazy, right? He goosed me. Couldn't believe it. Like, what am I carrying here? Why don't you just run me through again without the belt buckle? Why do you have to go to the woohoo? My goodness. No flowers, nothing. Just crazy, man. I'm telling you. Embarrassing. I should have wore a cup, because afterwards I'm like, hey sir, could you give me my belt back, please? Thank you very much. My voice went up a couple of octaves. That's how hard he hit me. It's crazy, man. I've seen that in pro wrestling. When they want to take you out, they give you a little shot like this. Crazy. I'm okay, Pluto. Pluto, I'm okay. Crazy, man. What a crazy world we live in. People are so deceived, they refuse to believe their own eyes and ears and truth. And this is the main problem for all of us. 100%. 100%. Who keeps banning me? I don't know. Did you say something crazy? It's not me, but I do have moderators on here, Elias, so you got to be careful, man. They will put you in a timeout if you're not careful. All right, let's continue here. Let's see if we can hear some more crazy stuff.
Steve Keeley, right to point out that, where this plane crashed and how it didn't hit homes and or businesses, and it maybe found an opening, a safe place.
That looks like an engine right there. If it's a plane, there's your plane engine. Case closed.
This is what they're trained to do, and you just never know what that pilot was thinking in his final thoughts.
Right, and Jet Rescues, that was the company, the aircraft that owned it. A spokesperson said that it was a seasoned crew, and everyone involved in these flights goes through rigorous training. When an incident happens, it's shocking and surprising.
Let me see if I can see the footage again. So I think they have other angles too. Let me see here. This might be a different angle right here.
Hey, my car's in the area. We just heard someone who lives right there at the corner. Off camera, I talked to him, and he said his mother was trying to go to sleep after, hearing what happened right outside of her front doors. But I can imagine if she gets to sleep, which I'm sure is going to be difficult, it will not be a restful sleep at all.
I don't think it'll be a restful sleep for many people in that neighborhood, especially people who witnessed what happened or maybe know someone. We know 6 people, Cheyenne, were taken to the hospital. We know at least 6 homes caught fire.
Notice they're just showing this footage of after the explosion. They're not showing us the footage before. I'd like to see this camera angle. I want to see the explosion because they're showing us after. Why not show us before it hits?
So
yes,
definitely, you said heart-wrenching.
And I like how the person there, I don't know where this guy's running. That's kind of weird.
Gut-wrenching, unimaginable. It looks like a war zone out there. And I think when
it is a war zone. You guys got hit by a missile.
Everyone wakes up in the morning, reality is going to hit when daylight strikes.
It's almost unrecognizable.
Look at that explosion. That don't look like any plane to me.
Dawn, this is a shopping center, the Roosevelt Mall, that I am very familiar with, growing up in Philadelphia. And if I came to this area, I would not recognize it. And that just speaks.
One plane does that much destruction. Amazing. Amazing. That's the part that's kind of weird on this whole thing. Let's see here. What do we got here? What's going on here?
across the street from where we are now, right outside of the McDonald's. And here's a close-up shot of it where it says Jet Rescue 10, an air tank, something that would be on an airplane in case.
Wow, that looks kind of pristine, doesn't it? If that's a Jet Rescue 10 tank. Wouldn't that be up in the flames as well? Isn't that combustible, or am I missing something here? It's kind of weird, right? Let's see here. JLR investigates chat. You get tossed. Yep, just say that. Yeah, it just depends what you guys are saying. If you're talking about the stuff that we're talking about, you're not going to get punted. But if you get a little weird, then somebody might punt you. So just try and stick within the realm of what we're doing here. Let's see here. Yeah, how does the oxygen explode? This, to me, this should have gone up in flames, I'm guessing. Let's see here. What else do we got? It's what it feels like. They're starting to create a narrative now. They're showing us footage on their cell phone, because that's credible, on their cell phone to say, look at this, check this out. See? Probably because they couldn't get here in time with it. So they just said, just put the tank down and just film it and then send it to them and say, that's what we found. Crazy, right? Okay, let me don't you like all this conspiracy stuff? Like, you Americans, you just feed us this stuff every day. It's like there's always something going on in America. Canada, there's nothing like this stuff going on.
Somebody needed oxygen while they're being treated. And so on the plane, a paramedic, a physician, a pilot, co-pilot, and that mother and young girl. And the plane itself, Jason, you mentioned the family being from Mexico. The plane itself, according to an official here on scene, also registered in Mexico. So it was on its way to Missouri and then maybe maybe refueling there and then on its way to Mexico. Now, here's another personal observation. So for the folks who weren't watching us at 5 o'clock news, we broke a story about a man who stole a Mercedes over in South Jersey.
Okay, so that's your plane crash right there.
And then when the police over there tried to stop him, he hit a police officer, maybe two, hurt one of them seriously, then led police on a pursuit across the bridge. That's why I was so close to the scene.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay, so this is why you just happened to be here, because there was a police chase and you thought you would report it right by the mall that gets hit by a missile. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's why you have to explain to us why you're here. Why on God's green earth you'd think you have to explain to me why you got there? I just thought you're a reporter, that you guys just go to these scenes, but now you're telling me the reason, like you're building an extra layer? Don't buy it, buddy. I don't buy it.
At the time, I did a 5 o'clock report. And the reason I'm bringing that up, I want to talk about the weather conditions, which will play a part in this investigation. And the reason I had to go from my place in Center City in a car all the way out here, which was almost an hour drive in traffic, is because our helicopter couldn't fly because of the
Oh, Muffin. So it's guys like this that just drive me crazy. I don't know. Are you guys smelling this stuff right now? Like, is this not weird that he's explaining why he got in his car and drove an hour to the scene before it happened? Does this not go ding, 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 ding? This is weird. Like, yeah, like, man, it's just, it doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. Yeah, he's saying too much. He's feeding us here. Stuff that we're not even asking about him. We don't care about where you came from. Now we do. Now we're like, oh, yeah, that is kind of weird that you drove in your car for an hour, and now you're adding on a layer that helicopters couldn't fly because of the weather. Oh, okay. Is it perhaps because the helicopters didn't want to get shot down because they knew a missile strike was going to happen? That's why they sent you instead? Weird, right?
Conditions in the air. So there were no news helicopters flying. Maybe jets and other aircraft can fly, but these were harsh conditions to fly in, which is why all the news helicopters were grounded, and that's why we couldn't cover that story. And I had to get
All the news helicopters were grounded so that they can't cover the story from the air. So you ground all the helicopters. You say, I don't want any news footage from helicopters at all. We're going to send reporters on the ground because we'll tell them that it's because of poor weather condition. That's why helicopters, and the Americans will go, yeah, that makes sense to me. Don't have any news footage of this crash anywhere. Don't do that. We'll rely on actors, or we'll rely on these news people instead, and hopefully no one from the audience will ever question anyone. So we downed all the helicopters. We said, do not go there because there's a potential missile strike going to happen. We don't want to accidentally shoot you. So instead, send your reporters because we're going to give you a tip. There's something going to happen in 1 hour from now.
get out here and hightail it out here at 2 o'clock to cover that story because we couldn't send the helicopter to it. You had a low ceiling, which means fog/clouds, and we had rain. And so.
Are you guys buying this stuff? Are you guys buying this stuff right now? He's explaining to us why helicopters can't fly in this condition. He's explaining to us why all the helicopters were down and he's the only one, or all the other reporters were able to send. He's explaining to us the ceiling now. The helicopters can't fly under the ceiling, and we just finished learning about this stuff a couple of days ago with Pat 25, knowing that they shouldn't fly above 200 feet. They're supposed to fly below 200 feet. And in fact, I was right about the idea that they were actually 300 feet, which if they were under 200 feet, they would have missed the plane. But for some strange reason, they decided to go above 300, and now they're basically in a zone where they can get struck by, or they can strike a plane. So that's bizarre. So that's where we started hearing about ceilings. And now this reporter is telling us when and where helicopters can fly now. All of a sudden, it's almost like this is like code that they're giving us over the last 3 days. Like they're saying words like ceiling, weather, helicopter, all this stuff. And I feel like this is code or something that they're saying here. Like it feels scripted. It feels unnatural. Whatever it is that this guy is saying, it feels made up. Let's continue here.
Visibility obviously is bad and certainly not safe enough to fly a helicopter. And that'll be part of this investigation. Did weather play a part in this crash here in Northeast Philadelphia today?
All right. So gave us some more codes. Not safe for this helicopter to fly. So that's why they didn't fly, to catch one of the biggest news items of the day, a missile strike. And no helicopters. When have you ever seen that happen where no news helicopters can fly? They're all over the place.
All right, Steve Keeley, thank you. Let's talk to Drew exactly about the weather and the impact it could have played.
Now, did you see that? Now he's acting. Oh, don't let me stay out here. It's cold because I just said it was cold. Whatever.
And just also the conditions that these first responders, police, and fire are dealing with now, because they've been on the scene for over 4 hours in rain and cold and wind. It's not ideal on a good day.
Right. And let me just.
Does it look cold and wet and rainy here? Am I missing something? I see a little bit of water on on the ground, but I didn't get the impression that it was freezing cold. Not saying it's not cold in Philly.
Jump in on what Steve was talking about. So he talked about a low ceiling, which just means clouds are not far off the ground. And that's the main reason why we couldn't get the chopper out there. Two things that ground the chopper, in other words, you can't fly, is the clouds are too low and helicopters are flying with line of sight. A plane like this, they can use instruments when you can't see because...
Again, there's some kind of code here that he's telling us that it's hard to pick up on, but now he's explaining to us. He's going on and on about how helicopters cannot see. Planes can, but helicopters can't. They rely on line of sight. Why would he say that? Well, it kind of builds a little bit of a story for what we saw yesterday, and now we can go, oh yeah, it kind of makes sense that these helicopters, they're so unsophisticated, they couldn't see the plane. Like there seems like some kind of a narrative that they're trying to build here. I've never seen anyone talk about helicopters so much as right here when the story is this place got hit by a missile strike, and now you're going on and on about why there's no helicopters here.
These are these thick clouds. Like right now, it's covering a good portion of the city's skyline. You can't even see the buildings that we normally see. So when these planes, like the one that went off, fly, they use their instruments. And it's not uncommon to do something like that. But for a helicopter, that's a concern. The other thing that would ground a helicopter is winds. Winds are not an issue right now at the ground. But when the plane took off from the Northeast airport in Philly, it encountered stronger winds pretty quickly once it went off the ground. Now, that's not uncommon because winds are always stronger higher up, but it was rapid. The winds did keep staying from the same direction. One issue that smaller planes can run into when they go off the ground, if winds as you go up start twisting or come from different directions, that makes it harder to fly. That was not the case here. It was the same wind direction from the ground up coming.
I have no idea why he's telling us this stuff. This makes no sense to me. Did you see that missile come down? Like it went down and then it curved. Watch it.
Harsh conditions to fly in, which is why all the news helicopters were grounded, and that's why we couldn't cover that story. And I had to get out here and hightail it out here at 2 o'clock to cover that story because we couldn't send the helicopter to it. You had a low ceiling, which means fog/clouds, and we had rain, and so visibility obviously is bad and certainly not safe enough to fly a helicopter. And that'll be part of this investigation. Did weather play a part in this crash here in Northeast Philadelphia today?
All right, Steve Keeley, thank you. Let's talk to Drew exactly about the weather and the impact it could have played. And just also the conditions that these first responders, police, and fire are dealing with now, because they've been on the scene for over 4 hours in rain and cold and wind. It's not ideal on a good day.
Right. And let me just jump in on what Steve was talking about. So he talked about a low ceiling, which just means clouds are not far off the ground. And that's the main reason why we couldn't get the chopper out there. Two things that ground the chopper, in other words, you can't fly, is the clouds are too low and helicopters are flying with line of sight. A plane like this, they can use instruments when you can't see because these are these thick clouds. Like right now, it's covering a good portion of the city's skyline.
Watch
you
this.
Can't even see the buildings that we normally see.
Watch this missile
when these
here.
Planes like the one that went off fly, they use their instruments. And it's not uncommon to do something like that. But for a helicopter, that's a concern. The other thing that would ground a helicopter is winds. Winds are not an issue right now at the ground. But when the plane took off from...
It's coming up where we're going to see another angle. And they've been calling this the doorbell footage. So we're going to see this right away. But watch how it goes down and then all of a sudden, boom. And it's like, it feels like this is a missile strike.
The Northeast airport in Philly, it encountered stronger winds pretty quickly once it went off the ground. Now, that's not uncommon because winds are always stronger higher.
I'm just ignoring the reporter right now. Like he's annoying right now. I don't know what he's trying to feed us, but I'm really trying hard to ignore what he's saying because it's stupid.
But it was rapid. The winds did keep staying from the same direction. One issue that smaller planes can run into when they go up the ground, if winds as you go up start twisting or come from different directions, that makes it harder to fly. That was not the case here. It was the same wind direction from the ground up coming from the west.
The one thing that throws me off a bit on this one is sound. Not the guy speaking, but how fast sound travels. Did you notice in that last shot, the doorbell footage, the second it touched, the guy got jolted back? Did you notice that? Okay, let me just let me show you something here. Let me show you something. Hang tight. I'm going to show you some footage that'll give you a little bit of perspective as to how fast sound travels. Just give me 1 second here. I'm going to show you something here. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is right here. No, not yet. Where is it? Just trying to see if I could find it here. I don't know if you guys remember this. Let's see. Oh, where was it? Was it in Beirut? Let's see if I can find it. Yes, here it is.
What is it, Jen?
Okay. I found it. I want you to pay attention to how fast sound travels, and then I want you to remember the doorbell footage that you saw. So kind of pay attention to when the explosion happens and how fast sound travels, okay? So here we go. All right. So granted, a little bit farther away, but it's important to note that there is a time delay when it comes to sound. You don't see half a kilometer away when something smashes into the ground and you feel it right away. There's a delay. It could be a second, but this guy, there was no delay. As soon as it flashed bang, he was like, whoa, I got to go back inside the house. Too fast. So I'm not saying this is fake footage. Not trying to say that. I'm just trying to say that the perspective needs to be looked at here as to how close or how powerful that blast was. Because if it got to him that instant, that tells me this is more powerful than a plane actually crashing into the ground. What was on the plane, if it's a plane. Because otherwise, I just showed you footage of this port that had all kinds of, I don't know what it was in there, fertilizer or whatever it was. That sucker blew up and it looked like an atomic bomb had went off. That doorbell footage, it happened so fast. The second it happens, the guy's like right away responding. Seems a little quick to me. So either it's too quick or the footage, or sorry, the explosion was so powerful that that's how fast it traveled. And if it's that fast traveling, that tells me it was a missile explosion. It's not a plane. Let's see here. Let's go to the doorbell footage again here. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh, look at this here. This was kind of interesting too. This gives you a little bit of perspective as well. I forgot about this footage here. Check this out. This was a wedding that was actually going on at the time. Wedding footage. So watch this. Watch how quick this happens here. And then we'll go back to the doorbell footage. Okay? Have a look at this. Now watch this. My goodness gracious, great balls of fire. That was horrible. Okay. Let me find the footage. But that gives you the magnitude of that explosion and how fast the sound travels there. Like you heard it, and then like a second later, bam, the blast. That was a powerful blast. Not gonna lie, that was very powerful. Let's go back to the doorbell. Let me see if I can find the doorbell footage here. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's see. Let me see here. Let me see. Hey, what's this guy got here? Okay, let me just see if I can find this here. Let's go back to the doorbell footage. Right here. Okay, let me see if we can find it together. I'll just put this up. I'll queue it up here. Okay, let's go find the doorbell footage. There it is, I think.
You know, it appears to be. And again, Northeast Philly Airport's less than 2 miles away.
And people saying, Jason, that they heard an explosion. They heard this happen, and then they looked up into the sky. People, reaching out to us on the phone, via email. There you see it again, just crashing down, coming out of a sky out of nowhere, and then that huge fireball. People say they felt the ground shake. Certainly a scary and frightening situation. I mean, this is the ring cam video that we've been showing you this evening. And can you imagine seeing this from your front door and wondering what in the world is happening?
Well, especially when you think about what just happened in Washington, D.C. and a midair collision and a lot of people saying, wait, what in the world is going on? Fred Teesey, former pilot, aviation attorney, joins us now on the phone. And Fred, you've flown this airport many times. What can you just tell us about the type of aircrafts that obviously Northeast Philadelphia Airport, and that's all part of the pre-flight process, correct?
It would be. And so a couple things. So now it's interesting how fluid this kind of stuff is. So we now know that the aircraft was departing Northeast Philly. So it means that tells me it would have been full of fuel. And that's why you're seeing an accident on the ground. You're seeing witnesses on the ground saying that the airplane was full of fuel. Could it be a Lear that would be consistent with the kind of airplane that comes in and out of there? It could have been a King Air, which is a twin engine turboprop. It could have been any one of a dozen airplanes. I mean, I could rattle off dozens of airplanes that it could be. To answer your question, you cannot take off with ice on the wings. Now, as I said earlier, the ground temperature is 10 degrees centigrade, which is, what's that, like roughly close to the 50s. So being iced up on the ground before it took off, that's not going to be an issue. So the question is whether or not that aircraft, how long has it been since it took off? Did it climb into icing conditions? Depending on the type of aircraft it is, the first thing you do when you get into ice, if it is, let's say it is a light jet, you get into ice with that thing, you just pull those up, you just keep going. Because sooner or later, you get up where the air is so cold that the water's not going to form on the wings. Now, if it's a Navajo.
I don't know what he's talking about here. Okay, let's go. Let's find this doorbell footage here. I think it's right here.
And that's
here for a second.
Right, and that's shortly thereafter
right about
is
the time
when this all happened. And Fred, you also talked about, so it would also be completely fueled up, making this crash.
You guys can't report on this, but I'm telling you some of the things that I'm saying, which gets back to kind of the speculation that I was saying earlier. There was a Lear 55 that operates as MTS, Medical Transport Services, that was scheduled to depart Northeast Philly, I think for Springfield, I want to say Springfield, Illinois. So if you go to flightaware.com, you can see scheduled departures from Northeast Philly.
So if somebody has some kind of flight tracker, you can actually pick up this plane that he just mentioned. I was like going Mach speed. Let me just back up here. So 3659. Let me see what that, maybe I can check out that software.
Which gets back to kind of the speculation that I was saying earlier. There was a Lear 55
remember that layer 55 in case I forget.
That operates as MTS, Medical Transport Services, that was scheduled to depart Northeast Philly, I think for Springfield, I want to say Springfield, Illinois. So if you go to flightaware.com, you can.
Okay, flightware.com. All right, let me see if I can find that. Flightware. See if I can see the software. Okay. What is this stuff here? Let's see. That doesn't help me. Give us a call. I don't know what that is. Okay. There should be some kind of flight tracker software. Flight. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. Flight Aware. That's probably what he said. Okay. All right. Here we go. Flight Aware, I think is what he said. So let me go to this and let's see if we can find something here. So this is real time. Oh my goodness. Cheapers. What am I supposed to do with this stuff here? Okay. Let's go in here. Wow. My goodness. Where are we here? What is going on? Look at all the planes. No wonder you guys are crashing all the time. Okay, that's Canada. Let's go into the States here. My goodness. You gotta sort through all this stuff. Okay, let's go in here. Okay, where are we? Where is Philadelphia? It's got to be somewhere around here. Okay, here we go. Where are we here? Where is... Okay, right here. We got to go, oops, this way to the coast. Man, this is crazy. There's Newfoundland. This looks like this has to be New York down here, right? Where am I looking here? This is New York, I think, right there. Florida. My goodness. How would anybody find a plane in this? Is that Pittsburgh over here? That looks like Pittsburgh. I don't know. Anybody know how to use this software? This is insane. I never knew that you guys had so many planes. Man, oh man. Let's see if we can get closer here. Yeah, that's crazy software. I think there's a way. I'll have to play around with this. Let me see if I can go back. Let me see if I can go find the doorbell footage. But yeah, that would be cool to see the flight tracking software and have a look at it, Flight Aware, and then be able to figure out what this plane was, if it is a plane, and then find out. Because to me, the case would be closed if you see the plane actually go over the city and then disappear. I think it'd be case closed. But let me just see. Let's just go back to the doorbell footage and see what's going on here. See if we can find it. I'll listen to the guy a little bit and then continue here.
See scheduled departures from Northeast Philly, and that aircraft, Lear 55, was scheduled to depart, and so that airplane would have a bunch of jet fuel on it. Some of the, a lot of the aviation rumors are starting to swirl around about an instrumentation loss, which is something we had talked about earlier. Who knows if that is what it was? But with a Lear 55, if that's what the airplane is, I mean, a Lear 55 is a very sophisticated airplane. A Lear 55 and a highly trained crew, something kind of went catastrophically wrong.
And so you're saying, based on the FlightAware data that you've looked up, that Lear 55 was taking off Northeast Philly Airport when?
It was scheduled at 6:06 p.m.
And that's
here for a second.
Right, and that's shortly thereafter
right about
is
the time
when this all happened. And Fred, you also talked about, so it would also be completely fueled up, making this crash with fuel everywhere, which people are reporting smelling jet engine.
It's so bizarre how big that explosion is. That's the crazy part. Okay, let me see if I can find the doorbell footage here. Because I think that's what looks the most bizarre. Yeah, right here. Here it comes.
Racing down. Common sense tells me to not get too close to what appears to be an explosion.
Yeah.
That I can tell.
Okay, so there's a little bit of a delay because that does look pretty close. So let's go back to this guy here. Does this guy look cold, by the way? He's got an umbrella telling me that it's raining. He doesn't have mitts on, doesn't have a hat. He just has an umbrella. This kind of guy is an interesting character here. We'll come back to this guy, but I want to see the doorbell footage here. Let's watch this. Let's back it up again.
Explosion.
Yeah.
That I can tell you.
Out here right now. Why'd you guys decide to just you're out here now?
Okay, so this is this guy's story of why he's here. I feel like this guy's an actor as well, but let's just see. Like, my question to you is this what normal people do when there's an accident like this? You got to ask yourself the question, like, what do you think how would a normal person react in something like this? Would they run? Would they run towards the fire? Would they make sure that people are safe and sound and all this? Would you call a friend and say, hey, did you know this happened? Would you jump on the phone? What would you do? So let's listen to what this guy does and see if it's weird.
It possibly broke up over the mall.
Where were you?
We were over in that lot over there. So we just saw the aftermath, but I've talked to a couple law enforcement officers and whatnot.
I'm just walking around this area. Do you live in the area or work?
Okay, so he talked to a couple of law enforcement officers and whatnot. So my understanding of how the law works or how police officers work is usually they'll say, go away. We don't have anything to say. We don't know what happened. Could you please stay over there instead of talking to someone? Feels kind of weird, but okay, we'll let it go. Police are telling a nobody, hey, come here for a second. I need to talk to you about what's actually happening. I don't see police doing that, but again,
Cruise town. Yeah, not too far.
Just walking around here, even right now, what are you seeing? What's the mood like out here?
Somber, concerning. They're trying to keep people back because we heard the gas lines were at risk. I haven't seen an after explosion yet.
okay, so gas lines are at risk. You're going to hear this coming up over and over again. Like, where did this idea come from? A plane crashed, and now you're worried about gas lines exploding? Seems kind of weird, doesn't it?
Have you smelled anything, seen smoke?
Okay, so now we got to stick to the script, sir. We're going to lead you with something. Have you smelled anything? Oh, you mean like jetliner fuel? Yeah, I did. Seems weird. You're leading the witness.
Since this happened,
we saw a lot of smoke and we saw fire down there.
And you hear that they're saying that this, was a medical flight.
We heard the same
doctors
thing.
And patients.
Yeah, you heard the same thing because you're on the same script. So she's leading him too. Remember the script? Remember it.
On board.
Or something.
What does that do to you? It's heartbreaking.
It's hard.
What does it do to you? It's heartbreaking. So I'm going to feed you what you need to say.
Breaking anybody, anytime, but certainly from what we heard, there were two doctors, a patient, a friend, I guess a pilot and crew, whatever. But any tragedy like this is horrific. It's terrible.
What's the area like as far as getting around? I mean, you're on foot, so you're free to move, just not beyond the barricades, but even traffic-wise.
Traffic looks like it's moving a little better now, but all of Bustleton was backed up before, and obviously here on Cotman, they're starting where they've kept diverting traffic farther away, so nobody can get even close at all.
So he knows about how the officers are rerouting traffic and not letting people close. He knows this stuff already. Wow. It's amazing that you can just pick people off the street and they know all this stuff.
Last thing, so I can let you guys go out of the rain. Why'd you decide to come down here as far as you could walk?
We were just shopping and maybe going to grab something to eat. So we were inside one of the stores at the time. And then when we came out, that's when we saw the melee and fire and smoke. And then just, red light, blue light, one after another. Police, firemen, just all racing down. common sense tells me to not get too close to what appears to be an explosion.
Yeah.
Common sense, folks. If you want to use common sense, don't go near the explosion. So this guy is basically subconsciously telling you guys, or subtly, subliminally, no person in their right mind is going to go and investigate this stuff. So stay away, folks. Stay away from this. There's nothing to see here. Common sense would say. So they're using code words here.
Yeah,
That I can tell you.
Out here right now. Why'd you guys decide to you're out here now?
Just to be part of the community.
Do you see how that dips? It's kind of bizarro. 1548. Watch how that dips. 1548. Let's see where to go. Where to go. Thing I remembered. 1548. Okay, watch how it dips.
Explosion.
Yeah.
That I can tell you.
Out here right now. Why'd you guys decide to you're out here now?
Right here. So watch that. Looks like this guy is actually on the opposite side of what we've been seeing from other footage, because the other footage that we saw was the fireball coming from left to right and exploding. This time we're on the opposite side, seeing it go from right to left, meaning if this isn't flipped at a flipped image, we're actually on the opposite side of the town watching this missile strike. And watch it dip. It curves. Watch it curve. And I don't know what this guy is all of a sudden he's seeing. Like he's looking up now all of a sudden. It's kind of, to me, it feels a little early. But again, I haven't been in this kind of an explosion. He's looking up, saying something. Now he looks back over his left shoulder. He heard something that made him go like this before it exploded. So then I'm starting to go, I sure hope this isn't some kind of superimposed footage, because it's ill-timed. He looked before it exploded. Again, 47. So let me back up a few seconds here. 1547. So let's watch this guy again. Watch how quick he turns his head.
Explosion.
Yeah.
That I can tell you.
Out here right now. Why'd you guys decide to you're out here now?
Just to be part of the community.
Like he looked before. Why would you look before it explodes? That doesn't make any sense. That's not how sound works. And there wasn't even a flash yet. So let's back it up a bit. Let's go right here. Okay.
Just to be around.
Well said. Thank you so much. And that's what, the good part of this that we're talking about. As much as there are a lot of people out here walking around and taking pictures, there are certainly people who are looking to see if they can help in any way. And again, we're not close exactly.
I don't know what I'm seeing here. That's just bizarro world.
Exactly to where the heart of the scene is. So it's not likely that people will be able to get.
I don't get it. It seems weird. It seems too fast. Something's off with that. What do you guys think? Is that weird? Yeah, maybe. That would kind of make sense, that there was some kind of a whistle. Although it kind of felt like it was coming from that direction, and the way he looked up was like it was coming from over there, and then he turned around. So I don't know. Maybe it could have bounced. That could make sense. It would bounce off the walls, and then he'd look around behind him like a whistle. That's possible. It's possible. It's bizarro. It's bizarro, man. It seemed like like he was already reacting very quick compared to the footage that we saw, where there was a little bit of a time delay. Let's see here. A whistle. Think I could fly a rocket. It would be fun. Maybe Darcy. Let's see. Somebody in doorway said, "Hey, look, there's something falling." That very possible. She did the same. So yeah, it could have been a whistle. Sorry, what did Chris Dollar say? Absolutely, it's not shown here. Let's see here. Can you play the Mach speed view again. Is that from the other angle I think you're talking about? Let me just see if we can find it here. Let's see. See if I can find it here.
Car only, but
Let me put you guys on the screen. Oh yeah, okay, you can see what I'm scrolling. So I'm trying to find the footage, the other footage here. Keep showing the doorbell footage. Show the mayor. Let's see what the mayor has to say.
Earl Parker, along with firefighters.
Let me start by thanking each of you for being here. I want to go through some basic facts about what we know for certain right now. An aircraft went down in the vicinity of Roosevelt Mall on Cottman Avenue. This occurred shortly after 6 p.m. this evening. As of right now, we have no reports on the number of fatalities. So right now, we're just asking for prayers for any and everyone who may have been affected. We do want to note that several dwellings and vehicles were impacted. So what are we asking you to do for us right now, Philadelphia? We're urging you to please stay away from the scene. If you see debris, call 911. Don't touch anything. This is still an active scene under investigation. I'm proud to note that all of our federal and state partners, they are either en route here or on the ground with us right now. We did see some neighbors who live in the surrounding community. Just stay in your home. Again, it's still an active scene and it's under investigation. This is only the first of many briefings, I'm sure, to come on this evening. And of course, when daylight comes, when we have more facts and information to share with you. But I do want to say a special.
It is interesting to have a Nike hat on. I get it. Okay, maybe it's raining or something, but okay, a little bit of sponsorship going on there.
Thank you right now again to all of our federal and state partners and our amazing first responders right here in the city of Philadelphia. Our fire, our EMS, our police department, they have been here working vigorously to ensure that we get this perimeter and the surrounding area blocked off to ensure that we make public safety and health our number one priority. So we don't have any further information to.
Okay, so nothing more than what we've uncovered here. So let's see what this lady says here.
Exactly happened. But as you just heard the mayor say, the priority right now is people staying safe. And of course, we are working to figure out what exactly caused this crash. But right here behind me, you can see that we are kind of right near ground zero. That home that was on the corner, you can see that it has some damage. It actually was on fire. And just trying to get to the scene, I was going through the neighborhood and a lot of people were asking, what exactly happened? And to be quite honest with you, a lot of people are really afraid because we just saw exactly what happened over in DC on the Potomac River. A lot of people have questions about how does this happen back to back, because the reality of the matter is this is something that doesn't happen often. So a lot of people are on edge. I mean, it was a Friday evening. People were coming home from work. Some people were getting ready to enjoy their weekend. And then something like this happens.
It's weird that there's some people running. I sure hope there isn't any arson going on as well, because all you would need is a few players to say, as soon as this missile hits, I need you to light up a few cars, because what we're going to do is we're going to tell people, stay indoors because it's not safe for you. So watch these people running in the background here. This is kind of crazy.
what exactly happened. And to be quite honest with you, a lot of people are really afraid because we just saw exactly what happened over in DC on the Potomac River. A lot of people have questions about how does this happen back to back, because the reality of the matter is this is something that doesn't happen often.
Right there. What are those people running from? Why are they running so fast? Are they vandals? Or are they vandalizing vehicles, lighting them up? If this place is sectioned off, why are these people running like that away from the fire? Look at this.
So a lot of people are on edge. I mean, it was...
Those guys look suspicious as can be. I think they're there lighting fires that they shouldn't be lighting fires. I think they're up to no good there. Because why are you running like that when this place is under a police investigation and you're running away from the fire? Could that mean that you lit a bunch of cars? Because it's weird that all these cars are lit on fire and homes are lit on fire as well.
A Friday evening, people were coming home from work. Some people were getting ready to enjoy their weekend. And then something like this happens right in their backyard. And as you said, this is Northeast Philadelphia. Right here, there's a shopping center, there's homes. This is a very active part of our...
These guys look like they're doing some social media stuff. Because one guy's walking backwards, the other guy's walking towards him. So they're getting some footage of the fire for their social media channel.
So a lot of people, they just really are honestly scared.
Somebody's
right now,
running this
Jason.
way.
And officials, as you just heard, they are going to continue to give us some updates about what exactly happened. So as soon as...
Oh, that's a cop, I guess.
we know more, we'll absolutely make sure that we let you
Who are those people?
know. But
What does that say on the back of those jackets? Who are these people that are filming?
Jason, Dawn, this is just still a very active scene right now, and a lot of people
Weird.
are quite honestly...
Anybody recognize those jackets in the audience that are filming? Who are those people? Cops wear caps. Makes sense. Something weird going on here.
afraid and concerned.
Right, and you can understand why people are frightened. I mean, we've seen Ring camera video of people opening their door to come home for the night and all of a sudden hearing an explosion and then looking up into the sky and seeing this ball of fire. What is the mood there, Cheyenne?
It's actually quite eerie. Like I said, when I was on my way to get to the scene, I was walking through the neighborhood and there were a lot of people. I mean, it's just natural for you to step outside your door and you're just wondering exactly what is happening. People are freaked out, for the lack of a better word. And like you just said, like how I found out about this happening, my phone was going off. You know, a lot of my family members in Northeast Philadelphia were reaching out. I was reaching out to them. And that's a lot of what's going on. People are reaching out to their family members to make sure if you live in this area that they are okay. So that's definitely top of priority for people here. And a lot of people are just like, well, what is next? What possibly more could happen? Because
so I'm asking.
We are still very much so on edge after what happened in DC, and it's hard to.
This is the secret sauce right here. Is America's on edge right now. All it needs is just a little shove over the edge, and you guys could be in downright panic mode running the banks on Monday. That's what I feel like. If you're not in panic mode right now, I'd be checking my bank account and just saying, you know what, maybe we need a little bit of extra cash, just a little bit of cash. Let's just pull, we won't pull everything out, but let's just pull a little bit out. And I'd be going to the stores tonight and just grabbing a little bit of groceries, a little bit extra. I'd go to some of these grocery stores that are open late because you don't know what can happen tomorrow night. Not trying to cause a panic for you Americans, but I don't know, if I saw a missile strike land in my city, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to the grocery store tomorrow. Because if they're going to lock me in at home for a little while, I'm going to make sure that I got me some M&Ms and some potato chips and stuff. Just saying.
Ignore what just happened, less than 2 days ago. And then this hitting so close to home, it definitely has a lot of people frightened.
I'm curious if you had a chance to speak to any witnesses who saw or heard anything.
I did. I spoke to one guy actually on my way when I was trying to make my way here, and he said that he literally like opened his front door, and he said people were saying like, get down, get down, get down. And of course, you know, when you hear get down, you automatically get down. He wasn't sure what they were saying get down for. He wasn't sure if there was a shooting going on, but he was just still shaken up because this is definitely not what he expected.
It's weird to have a plane crash and to have somebody yell at you, get down, get down, get down. That's not a typical reaction when you see a plane crash, unless you saw what you think is a missile strike and you're like, we're under attack, get down, get back in your house, get down. Just feels weird. I've never, usually what happens is when there's a plane, somebody will say it was a plane crashed and people get out their phones. This is kind of weird.
Anything, he expected it to be some type of unfortunate shooting happening in his neighborhood, but he did not expect it to be, you know, a plane crash happening here in Northeast Philadelphia.
Yeah, an explosion, and people reported feeling shaking, a deafening sound, and a fireball that just really engulfed.
Interesting that it's a deafening sound from a plane. I don't recall people saying that when other planes have gone down and crashed. I don't remember people saying there was a deafening sound. And we know that the guy in the doorbell guy, something caused him to look behind him. So I know if we watch footage from missile strikes from Iran or wherever to Israel, you can hear some of these missiles going overhead. And most likely in Ukraine as well, drones, all kinds of stuff. So that's kind of interesting that this is what eyewitnesses are saying. There is a piercing sound and an explosion that made everything rumble. Like, that tells me there's a lot of punch behind this explosion, more than a plane.
Cars and homes in the area, and fire crews doing their best to try to put those out.
Those images, they're just flooding around social media, and it's a lot of people are like, this is like nothing they've seen before. And actually, that police officer who escorted me over here, what she had to say, she said, this is just crazy, you know. And there's a lot of things that police officers see here in Philadelphia. So for a Philly police officer to say this is just crazy, it definitely says something.
Well, and even seasoned journalists, Mark Lavala, Steve Keeley, decades and decades covering news in this city. Even they seem a little perplexed and just dumbfounded by it.
It's weird, right? Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? Lots of stuff like this. This is like, I think this is live and it's going on for now 5 hours, this footage here. So you can go check it out as well. That's Philadelphia Fox 29. What do you guys think? Crazy? Nothing to see here? If it was just a plane, do you think it would cause this kind of commotion and trauma? Like, how many buildings went up? I think there's some arson going on here as well, because you notice these people running away from the fire. That'll probably come out later. Hey, look, these people will stop burning houses. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing. Like, the firefighters can figure that out if it was from the plane, missile, or from vandals. Better believe there's going to be a whistleblower, like a firefighter, coming out in the next week or 2 weeks as to what really happened. Like kind of like a Snowden thing where you hear of a firefighter resigning because he's like, this is not a plane that crashed here. This is actually a missile. And the news coverage tried to hide it. And then they fired me for wanting to squeal like a canary. I would expect, I would interview, I would pay money to firefighters and say, if anybody sings like a canary, I'm going to make you rich if you tell the truth. What was it? It was a missile. We planted plane parts. Oh, okay. Thank you for that. I'm not paying you now. I don't know. Just seems kind of weird. It's kind of weird, right? Eyewitness reports the missile sounds as well, saying we thought we were under attack. Isn't that interesting, right? And we're starting to get more of that whistle sounds, all this stuff. Let's see here. People disappearing into WP, so they had to fake their death. Disappearing in WP. What's WP? Let's see here. Black Swan. It's a red flag or a black swan they don't want to admit it's World War III. Yeah, that's crazy, right? Missile for sure. The plane parts don't even have the burn marks on them. That's an interesting observation. Yeah, it's weird, right? Hear tomorrow that someone important was on that plane. Yeah, kind of expecting something like that. Big surprise. You get a press pass. Witness protection. Yeah, interesting. All right, they didn't see plane parts. I don't trust. Yeah, it's weird. It's all bizarre. All right, I'm going to call it a night. It's been 2 hours. So thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you guys. If you have anything that's cray-cray, send it to me here. If there's a link, something that kind of lines up with what we're talking about tonight, other angles that we haven't seen, just email me at blackswandiary2022@gmail.com. If you want to be on this show as a guest, you got something interesting to talk about, including any of the stuff that we're talking about here. You got some insight or something, or you're a pilot from the last stuff that we're talking about. Maybe you're a helicopter pilot, or you want to talk about what's going on here. Maybe you're from Philadelphia in this area and you witnessed something. Let me know that in the email as well. And email me. Where's my other email? Where'd it go? Right here. Email me. If you have any questions, topics, something that you think I missed, put the YouTube channel link in the email and then send it to me. And then I can have a look at it and watch it. All right, guys. So I hope you have a fantastic night. Stay safe out there, because I'm telling you, it's getting crazy. See you later. Have a good night. Talk to you later. Bye for now.